In this video I'm going to photograph my local city using 3 different photography techniques to create stunning black and white cityscape images. Hi guys, welcome to another video and welcome back to Newcastle Upon Tyne. It's been a while since I shot here. I think it was back in January, and I think during the summer months so I never feel so much of a desire to come into the city simply because it means I've been up really early or staying out really late, and I don't find it very productive for photography. So today I've come into the city to create some black and white images. Now the problem was I couldn't quite decide what technique I wanted to use for this video. Initially I was going to go with just one of the techniques, but I've actually decided to go with 3 different techniques to create 3 different sorts of images. So I am starting off with a nice simple long exposure image, because I think long exposure shots in black and white, when you've got a nice fixed building that's obviously not moving anywhere, not blowing anywhere, so you get this nice rigid structure within your frame and the clouds moving around it, well, I think there's something quite magical about it, and it's actually a really simple technique. Now I think it's quite obvious what my first subject is, and I think the reasoning behind it is also quite obvious. We've got the Baltic building there, which is quite an iconic structure in Newcastle. We've got the nice new modern apartments to the side, and we've got lots of space in between for the movement of clouds going through. So what I'm doing, I've got the camera fairly low because I was worried about movement during the long exposure. So that does mean the camera is facing slightly up, which does mean we are going to get some converging verticals. But that's fine because I can correct that easy enough in Lightroom when I come to post-processing. The Fujifilm GFX 100 RF has a built-in ND filter, so I've turned that on. I think that gives you 4 stops. I've set the ISO down to the base ISO, which is ISO 80. I've then fitted a 10 times filter on, and I've set the aperture to f11. Now I've put it into time mode, and I've tried 4-minute exposures and I've tried 2-minute exposures. The last 4-minute exposure looked really nice, but I am just trying a 2-minute exposure now to see how that one turns out. But basically that's it. There's nothing else to really worry about. I've put the camera into the cross film profile, which I'm going to leave on all day just so I can pre-visualize in black and white, but really there's no other need apart from that. But I think overall I'm really pleased with this for the first shot. So I'm going to hang around, take a few more, and when I've got that final shot that I'm really pleased with, I'll put it up on the screen for you. So I think I've got my next shot lined up, and for this shot I've actually switched over to the little infrared camera. Now this is my little XA20 infrared camera, which I bought for an absolute pittance on eBay, 720 NM conversion. And whilst there does seem to be a common misconception that you can only use an infrared camera out in the countryside to get those sort of nice surreal landscapes of ghostly white grass and trees and jet black skies, you know what? I actually really quite enjoy using an infrared camera in the city, and I think this actually could be a nice little scene. I'm going quite tight in on the city skyline, and to be honest, it's really reliant on some sunlight coming out and allowing the infrared to sort of emerge from the trees, but I think it may well happen. Well, I didn't quite get the light I was hoping for with that shot, but still I think it was pleasant enough. I'm going to put a few shots on the screen now which I've actually captured using infrared in cities before, and I think they do demonstrate that it is worthwhile sometimes thinking out the box and trying infrared in a city environment. Now, if you don't have an infrared camera, of course, what you can do is you can try just fitting an R72 filter or another infrared filter to the front of your camera, and depending on your camera, you may find that actually works and you get a sort of infrared appearance. I'll put a link up in the corner now for you of a video I did recently about that. And now it's time for the last shot of the day, which is going to be a blue hour shot. But of course I'm shooting in black and white, so it's not going to be your normal blue hour shot, it's going to be a black and white blue hour shot. I think it's always quite surprising how little shots you actually see taken at night which are in black and white, and the tendency is for them to be colour. Now, I fully get why with the blue hour. The blue hour is a gorgeous time of the day, one of my most favourite days of the day probably. It's very predictable as well, you know you're going to get a splash of colour pretty much regardless of the weather around the blue hour. And you know, mix that in with some nice artificial lights of various different colours and you've got a recipe for great photos. However, this scene you would have seen numerous times shot in colour, but how many times have you actually seen it in black and white? And I suspect not that many. And all I'm trying to say really is sometimes you have to think outside of the box with your photography, and that's what we've done with all 3 shots today. So really this hasn't necessarily been a lesson in how to take different shots, it's been more of a lesson in thinking outside of the normal, what you should do when taking a shot. So the first shot we had a long exposure with a nice streaky skies, again very different to what we normally see. Second shot, infrared, again something we don't see that often shot in cities. And the third shot is a blue hour shot in colour, and here it is. And that's it guys, I'm going to end the video here. As I say, just think outside the box with photography, and that applies to whether you want to shoot black and white or whatever. Just think outside the box. Don't do the same that everybody else does. And on that note, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you soon for another one. Thanks for watching.